All right, switching gears a little bit here. Public safety in Minneapolis obviously affects those people who are living in the city. It affects you if you work there, if you visit. Like a lot of major cities, keeping everybody safe just has to be this constant uphill battle. And of course, Minneapolis has this additional level of scrutiny as well. So joining me now is Chief Brian O'Hara. Chief, thanks for being here. I know this is a little bit of a different format. This is a live interview, which I know you're not totally used to. You're used to seeing us out in the field with a microphone in your face. So thank you for being here and rolling with this. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So a couple of nights ago, I want to start with this. You were part of a response to a shooting. It was at Tantrum nightclub, downtown Minneapolis, bar closed. 3 people shot. Everyone around there says it was a very chaotic scene, including officers. There have been people, as you know, who have stopped going into Minneapolis because they hear things like this and they say, nope, this is not worth it. How do you respond to that?
Well, the reality is, it was a very difficult scene. And we have historically, over the last few years, seen problems around bar close, both downtown, but also in other parts of the city. And so, the scene that we had was very chaotic. I actually was outside of a bar in Uptown when the officers started calling for help, saying that there were shots fired. And even while the officers were there clearing out the club, they heard shots fired again in the parking lot. And then while they were arresting a person there with a gun, they heard shots fired a third time. But what we know the reality is, some of these bars downtown, the folks that are getting involved in violence there are the same folks that are just as likely to be involved in violence in our neighborhoods and also in other cities. So while there's hundreds of thousands of people who come into the city all the time, all year long, for all kinds of events, sporting events, going to restaurants, going to shows. Those are not the people that are involved in this type of activity. And the fact is, it's folks who are just as likely to commit a shooting those are the ones that wind up getting shot most often in these situations.
As a follow-up to that, from a resource perspective, how much of your resources are, say in downtown Minneapolis around bar close compared to, what you have to cover in neighborhoods, just generally speaking?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to deplete our neighborhoods just to cover bar close. So what that means is we have dozens of extra officers that are working several hours every weekend, late at night, through the afternoon and all through the overnight hours to try and keep people safe at the bars, not only downtown, but also in Uptown and also in Dinkytown, because we know we need a strong, visible police presence to deter this type of activity, especially when you have a lot of people, hundreds of people that are getting drunk, that a lot of times then go back to a car and get access to a firearm. So we needed to try and deter things from happening in the first place, which we have been successful on, and have a lot of times, more often than not, been able to make an arrest before something bad happens. But then again, at the same time, when something like this happens, there's a shooting in a club, there's hundreds and hundreds of people out there, you need to have sufficient police resources to respond urgently and to prevent it from getting even worse than what it was. But the frustration for me is we need to make sure that we're holding these owners of these clubs accountable when people are coming into their establishments armed with weapons and they shouldn't be. And that's the second time downtown within the last 2 weeks that we've seen something like that happen.
Yeah, that's one at Vanquish too. Chief, let's talk about juvenile crime. The public sees this big picture, right? Offenders are getting younger, crimes are getting bolder, not enough support, we know, on the front end, not enough facilities, staff on the back end to help them. So help take us down to sort of the literal street level on this. What are you seeing day to day on the ground as it pertains to juvenile crime?
I know I'm hearing a lot of times from community that there is not adequate resources, adequate supports available, adequate programs in the community. I know I'm hearing that all the time. But like 2 weeks ago, I got a call about 1:30 in the morning that there was a 13-year-old boy shot. And immediately I'm going through my head the names of the kids that I know are in that age group, wondering which one is it. And sure enough, it was the kid that was shot was someone that was known to us. The person that shot him was known to us, as well as other kids that were present when it happened. And when I mean known to us, I mean lots of contacts with the police, both for being involved in crime, for being reported as a missing kid, all of these types of things. So The frustrating part for us is we know we can see this stuff coming, and therefore it should be preventable. But unfortunately, the system has not been able to deal with it. And frankly, when the police are constantly coming into contact with young people, arresting them in stolen cars and otherwise, and seeing them back out on the street instantly, it provides them negative reinforcement, and it does not provide them any kind of the support that they need, not only to keep them from harming other people in the community, but to keep them alive. So the stuff around juvenile crime has been really, really challenging over the last 2 years, but people should not have a sense that this massive group of kids that are out here raising havoc, it's actually a really small number, and we should be able, as a system, to address it.
And I think people who follow the news have followed headlines with the Hennepin County attorney, and we know that there's a disconnect there. Is there any hope in your mind that that gap can be bridged anytime soon, or are we just really at this impasse?
We need some place to hold these kids that are most active. And I know recently the county passed some funding to appropriate and find some type of place for that. It's not necessarily jail or a juvenile detention center. It needs to be some place that is adequate to safely hold these kids while people figure out what are we going to do here to provide them some support. Okay. Letting them walk out the door, right after the police bring them in, with no plan on what are we going to do, is obviously contributing to the problem.
All right, Chief, you came here in 2022, arguably the heaviest time in the history of MPD. About a year later, of course, state, federal reviews both result in consent decrees saying changes need to happen and we will hold MPD accountable. You're still in negotiations, I understand, on the federal decree, the state decree starting to roll out just a little bit with things like community meetings. You actually oversaw a federal consent decree when you were police chief in Newark. So how does this compare? What are you guys going through right now?
Well, I'd say it's very, very similar in terms of the reforms that are being planned out. I'll tell you how it compares. Things are moving much more quickly here than they did in Newark, in my experience. And there is a whole lot more people involved in the process here in terms of supporting the work than what had been the case in Newark. And I know that people are talking about, the negotiations with the DOJ, now that the election has happened and other things. People need to know there is a real consent decree in place right now in the Minneapolis Police Department. There has been real work going on over the last year. And people, I think, by spring of this year, as new training gets final approval, new policies get final approval, people will see those tangible results. Now, regardless of having a consent decree or not, I am committed to making sure that this police department is one that earns the trust of everyone in our community in every possible interaction. And we want to have a police department that's so good that every mom in this city is proud of it, that they would want their kid to join the police department as we try and rebuild. So that is our goal. We're trying to actually change what cops do on the street. We're trying to change how people experience policing in the city, and that's going to happen regardless of any court order. But at the same time, one thing that is extremely, extremely challenging as we try and move forward is just the critically low level of staffing on the police department. And it is not an excuse for anything that we do, but it is a reality that our residents are dealing with. And it makes it so difficult to try and earn trust, when you're not able to respond as quickly as we should be, or you're not able to, engage with people, particularly young people, in situations that are not, law enforcement situations. So, staffing to me is the number one challenge for everything that we're facing, including reform. And the reform has been happening. I think the residents have been seeing and experiencing the results of that. And we're going to keep moving forward regardless of what happens as a result of the election.
Yeah, that's something to consider also, because during the Trump administration, they did lift a decree for the city of Chicago. And I think that there are advocates who are concerned that may happen here as well. As we wind down, I know you need to get going. I wanted to just ask you, and this sort of relates to what you were just talking about. I don't know if people at home notice this, but we in the media, because we are taking in all of the press conferences and sound bites, we see you at just about every crime scene, major crime scene, giving interviews. You just mentioned for the Tantrum shooting, you were out patrolling 1:45 in the morning as this other call was coming in. You are very much hands-on. So I'm just curious, just from the perspective, what does your day-to-day look like? Can you kind of walk us through that?
Yeah, it's long. I mean, like yesterday, I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going through dozens of emails, and then, went to a healing circle up at the NAACP in the morning, and then came into the office, went through the day. And last night went to a community meeting with the Unity Community Mediation Team up at the Urban League on Plymouth Avenue. And finally got home 8:30, and by the time I changed, I got a phone call from a sergeant that a teenager had been shot and killed in Little Earth. So while I did not address the media last night, I did suit up back into uniform and went down to the scene to see what happened, and to try and reassure both some of the residents that were there, but also the police officers that are seeing these terrible things happening over and over. I think it's I think my job is at least as important to be out on the street corner as it is to be in the corner office here. And that is true both for the residents in this town, who need to see that the issues, especially the violence, is being dealt with urgently, including from the chief. And I think it sends a message, even if there isn't cameras around, that when an 18-year-old is shot and killed and his body is laying there at night, that the police chief shows up. It shows that send a message internally that the entire department is committed to doing everything that we can, both to try and prevent this, but then to try and have some sense of justice when these tragedies happen. If nobody else is paying attention to this, we are, and we are all in saying that life mattered.
Yeah, and many of you are responding as, sorry to interrupt, many of you are responding as fathers, husbands, also. So, I mean, there's that layer of it too that we don't talk a lot about with law enforcement.
Oh yeah, it's extremely difficult, and especially when we're dealing with teenagers, when we're dealing with juveniles that are involved in crime, that we have seen die in car accidents in these stolen cars. We have seen them shot in these stolen cars and all these other things. Yeah, I mean, I cannot help think of my 13-year-old boy, my 8-year-old boy, when I'm getting these calls and I'm going to these scenes and I'm seeing these kids that are out here. And I worry about the young people that are coming on the job. There was a brand new officer on that scene last night that had just graduated the academy. He's actually the son of one of our sergeants here. I was concerned for him because these are not normal things to be exposed to. It's terrible, and I worry about the sustainability, particularly the young people that are coming here and seeing and enduring this despite all the other obvious challenges we have.
Yeah. All right, Chief, I know you got to go. Thanks for the conversation. We'd love to have you on from time to time so we can hear from you beyond sort of a 30-second soundbite following some sort of crime. It's good to be able to let things breathe a little bit and just kind of hear your perspective firsthand. So we appreciate your time very much.
I appreciate you having me, Lori. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Okay.